Big dog boxing, motherfucker. A post on X, the app formerly known as Twitter, from Ring Magazine reads, and I quote, "The fight division champion has announced his retirement from the sport at the age of 38. With a perfect record of 42 wins and 0 losses, Bud walks away as the only fighter with the ring title in 4 separate weight classes." End quote. So this news of Bud deciding to retire has the boxing world buzzing right now. There's a lot of different opinions. Like, for example, I've seen Oscar De La Hoya called Terence Crawford a tool, and that he could name 4, 5, 6 fighters that can compete and probably beat Bud Crawford, and that he's only got 2 good fighters, 2 good wins on his resume, and all this stuff. I've also heard others' opinions say things like Bud Crawford is retiring without giving us the Boots fight, and this and that stuff, right? And this one right here, this is my favorite. My favorite opinion that I've heard so far is that Terence Crawford retired to not give Canelo his rematch. That one right there was my favorite. And we're going to get into all of that in this video. But first, I wanted to give my 2 cents and talk about my opinion as far as Bud Crawford deciding to hang up the gloves. In my opinion, I think this is a good move. Quitting while you're ahead is not the same as quitting. For me, it's actually nice to see a fighter go out on top and not retire while they're on their downslope of their career, like so many fighters in the past have. For example, Mike Tyson taking back-to-back losses towards the end of his career to fighters like Danny Williams and Kevin McBride, or Oscar De La Hoya quitting on his stool in his last fight versus Manny Pacquiao, or Miguel Cotto losing to Saddam Ali, suffering from a shoulder injury. So I say that move by Bud Crawford was the move. Retiring, that is. So congratulations to Terence Bud Crawford. The guy made a fortune, and now he gets to ride off into the sunset. I'm not mad at Bud Crawford at all. But now I want to address this post from the inevitable D-Block, talking about what should Canelo do next now that Crawford ducked the rematch. And let me just say that this post does have some validity, only because Eddie Reynoso has come out and addressed that Canelo wants the rematch against Bud. But Team Canelo don't really have anyone to blame but themselves. Because, for one, the only reason we ended up here was because Canelo ducked and avoided his WBC Mando for 2 years, which was David Benavidez. If only Canelo would have fought David when David Benavidez was his mandatory. And let's just say that Canelo lost to David Benavidez, all right? The same way that Canelo lost to Bud Crawford. Difference here is youth. David has youth on his side. David is still young enough to where if Canelo wanted his rematch versus Benavidez, he would have got it. But nah, man, instead of giving the young bull an opportunity for the passing of the torch, Canelo decides to fight the older fighter and Bud. Well, keep in mind now, this was no secret. Bud let it be known that this was his retirement fight. So yeah, Team Canelo, they have nobody to blame but themselves. It is what it is, and it was what it was. Another scenario, though, that I think is a possibility is that this might be it could be a negotiation tactic, is what I'm trying to say. Bud Crawford and his team, if Bud Crawford is now retired, If Canelo really wants that rematch, if he wants that or if he needs that, now Canelo and Turkey are going to have to come back to the table with an even bigger bag to bring Crawford out of retirement. It's not impossible. Fighters do this shit all the time. How many times have Floyd Mayweather retired and come back? Or Manny Pacquiao? Or Tyson Fury? You see what I'm saying? These guys do this all the time. But in closing, as a hardcore fan of the sport, looking back now, for the greater good of the sport, Canelo should have fought David Benavidez for the passing of the torch, because as we could all clearly see now that Crawford was on his way out. Benavidez, in my opinion, is the up and coming potential superstar of boxing, because we all know that Latinos are the fans that keep the sport of boxing alive in the US. The Hispanic boxing fans are the ones that generate the most dollars for the sport of boxing nowadays, and it's not even close. So it would be wise to promote and have a Latino superstar to continue carrying the torch long after Canelo decides to retire as well. And who better than Benavidez? The guy has a fan-friendly style. He's fun to watch. He's explosive in the ring. But the way I see it is, if Benavidez goes up to cruiserweight, his career is going to die up there, which is unfortunate. But that's another topic for another video, for another day. Ending this video on a positive note. Now that Crawford has retired, the super middleweight division is now free and cleared out for all of those contenders to fight and earn their world titles. For example, Jose Armando Resendes, who upsetted Caleb Plant in their bout this past year, holds the WBA interim belt. He will now be elevated to the WBA World Championship belt. And he's another exciting, fan-friendly fighter to watch. Oslias Iglesias is the number one for the IBF world title. So he most likely will be elevated to the IBF. And for Iglesias to have that belt, hopefully that will get him more fights, more opportunities, because there's reason to go after him now. Same thing with Armando Resendes. This whole division, it's full of absolute hitters in this division. And now these guys will not have the opportunities to compete for all of those vacant belts. There's guys like Christian and Billy, Hamza Shiraz, Diego Pacheco, Kevin Lele Sajo, Lester Martinez, Bektemir Milikuziev, and even Canelo, if Canelo really wants to make another run at Undisputed. But Canelo is really going to have to want it, because these guys in his division are hungry now. They're very hungry for the same spots and those same titles. And at this stage of his career, I don't know if Canelo has that same fire and that same hunger that he did earlier in his career. We're just going to have to wait and see. Girls, guys, let me know what y'all think down in the comment section, man. Am I on to something? Am I reaching, man? Let's chop it up, man. Let me know what y'all thinking. Leave me a comment in the comment section, man, and you already know. Once again, this has been your boy, O Dog, boxing in the mouth. This bitch.